Hey, Blurdies. If you ever thought about working with kids, or maybe you're just curious about being a childcare professional, you're in the right place. I'm Imani, the childcare inspirer, and I just hit my mic. And I help young adults, especially those within their 20s and 30s, explore the joys of childcare or kids in general without fear and worry. So today I'm going to be talking to my Blurdies interested in working childcare as we go deep into everything you need to know about becoming a childcare professional. From finding your first job to understanding different settings and getting the right certifications and how to stand out in interviews. So basically, this little video is about getting your start and trying to get into working in a childcare career. So if you stick in the end, I'm also going to offer a special resource to anyone who is interested in trying to have those tough talks about uh, keeping your kids safe and supported without putting that fear in them. Because we're always about child safety, but we don't want to scare a child into not wanting to explore and experience the world. So here we go. So first, let's talk about why you should be a childcare professional. So it's not anything like babysitting. You think it's about babysitting, but really it's not. It's completely different. When you are working in childcare or working in like a daycare, you are shaping little people, little humans into becoming the best versions of themselves. So basically, this is a job where you're creating a foundation for their future. You're helping them to develop social skills, helping them to develop emotional health, and basically, you're helping them to get set up to, be ready to learn right before they enter elementary school. So it's that age range between of like birth leading up to pre-K. So it's that little realm right over there. You're literally making a difference in their lives every day that you step foot into a childcare classroom or in their home, basically. And it's a big demand for childcare these days. There's so many parents who are working, and as much as we want to have those parents that's working from home, they still have to find some way to be able to, make ends meet. And basically, childcare professionals are really huge right now. Like we're in a state where, parents are collaborating with childcare, teachers and providers in order to see what's best for their kid. And so it's basically a huge demand, especially for, once again, parents who are working. There's also the really big career growth. Take it from me. I'm someone who had jumped into childcare, and I managed to see the big possibilities of it. Like even being just a nanny, you could take that experience when you go into, maybe becoming an umpire, or you could start from an assistant teacher and taking that experience from being a nanny, and then you go up to being a lead teacher, and you could continue to be like a director or become a education coordinator where you put together curriculums for regular childcare buildings, or you could go and take the entrepreneurial path and open up your own daycare. So it's a very big deal of being a childcare person. It's not the whole stereotype of just playing with kids every day. It is very, very big and very important. Like just this fact that you're seeing helping a child, solve a problem, or seeing them, develop a new skill is worthwhile. So a little bit about the reason why I'm so vouching so much about this is because before I started in childcare, I was a little bit nervous about, any career having to do working with kids, because I didn't think I had real experience. Like I wasn't the teenager that grew up watching kids. I wasn't I didn't really have that much experience. And then the closest thing I had was that I had volunteered to reach the children in college, as well as, started out with an education, an education degree before I switched it. And I worked at a library for children's books. But, I wasn't really interacting with kids. So I was kind of nervous about it, as well as other personal, self-doubts when working with children, other experiences I might go into a little bit later on as this continues. But when it got to the point that me working in childcare became a last resort, I decided to just take a chance, and it worked out. I love it. I enjoy it. I am glad that I did it. Like this is one of those few jobs that not only do I enjoy it, but I actually look forward to getting up in the morning. It's very rare that I wake up in the morning and be like, I don't want to go in today. Like even at other jobs that, I did enjoy, I still was like, I don't really want to get up and go. Like I'm still excited on days that I get to go and work within childcare. So I just wanted to share that little story. It's like basically I thank God for it. I find it very rewarding every single day. Every day is always a really good and interesting moment. And even on tough days, I wouldn't want to change it for anything else. And I hope to be able to expand and grow more from it. Okay, so a little bit about me. I'm going to be talking about how to find your first childcare job. So you decide to go into childcare, but you're not really sure how to get into that first role. So here's just a few suggestions. The first, you could try looking for any local childcare or daycares, any local preschools that might be looking for positions. You could even like start out with something as an assistant teacher or maybe a sub, which I'll explain a little bit more in the next step. When looking for subs, you could try going online. They have, of course, Indeed. There's also care.com. If you're not looking for specifically a school, maybe you could start out working and becoming getting those childcare roles within like maybe someone's home. Like I'm telling you, it's more than just babysitting, but you can start working as a personal nanny for someone. And then also, I saw that there's an option of using Facebook's groups, but unfortunately, I don't think those are as legitimate as going on to Indeed or Care.com. I would stick to more legitimate job search sites than just picking something off of Facebook or social media. Um, Also, you could even network in real life. You could probably go to a job fair that might be specializing for, childcare for kids. Or you could try and, mention it to people that you may know. You, you know, get those opportunities of referrals. Tell friends that you're interested in maybe watching someone's kids for a little while. You could even look online for like activities that you could do when you're watching kids, so that way it's more, like I said, it's more than just sitting, looking after kids, on the free time. You could do something constructive that is also really fun. So you could be building that experience as well as building your skills when you're, starting out with just the, nannying and babysitting thing. But I would highly recommend that you may volunteer or shadow someone, who's already doing this type of job, or maybe volunteer somewhere that's working with kids so you can get that experience and even develop a, rapport with someone who is in charge so they could be a reference to you when you're ready to go and look for that position that, you're working towards. So, and also don't be afraid to go for those positions to say experience is required, because sometimes just showing that you're really passionate about working with kids or passionate about kids is could be just as enough as having just a laundry list of all of your accomplishments and achievements having to do with childcare. Like they look more for your passion than your experience. Experience definitely helps, but if you show that you're really intent on working with children, that could also give you a leg up. All right, guys. So now we talked about where you could look. We're going to go into what kind of locations or settings that you'll be going into. So not all childcare jobs are the same. Some of you probably think it's just between a home and just a childcare center. There's a few more to go into that. So of course there's the home daycare, which I always say is kind of a little bit of combination of both. It's usually within someone's house, but it's operated as a business. These are basically more home family-like settings, like I said, within the home. You care for more smaller groups of kids, and it's basically give that lovely home environment feel. It's basically just, I think it's kind of, you could use this as kind of like a starting place, especially if it's someone you know. But just know that it's more than just you're being at someone's house. They're operating it like a childcare business. Then there is the child care center, or I like to call it the classic child care center, which is a lot larger. It is a full business building. There's definitely more classrooms, which means more kids. A lot of the activities that's done within these classrooms, they're more structured, and you have more of a schedule. Like they actually, like the child care center that I work for, they have their own curriculum. Like they have the education coordinator, like I mentioned earlier, that they put together the curriculum for the entire company, and they send out what the curriculum is to each school that teachers could choose and pick for to do with their kids throughout the week. And it's also a really good place to try starting out with as well, because you're with other people who are working the same position as you are, even if they're in different age groups. So it'd be easy to lean on that teamwork aspect if you're someone who's brand new. Like that really helped me out because I was someone who's brand new to childcare, but I had teachers that were around that kind of showed me what to do. And it is a really big help if you are really close and really connect with your team. There's also the preschool. You would think that you would go from a childcare straight to a school, or that there's the preschool within a childcare building, which they do. But there's some centers that are just simply the preschool. That's with like kids, specifically getting them ready for kindergarten. Like I have never really set foot into these type of locations, but I've heard of them, and I think these are built specifically to help children get ready for elementary. I think they have, do activities that's more which is more similar to how you would find within maybe a kindergarten classroom. I think that you would be like they would be more in like used to the desk, used to like the paper and pencil. I'm just guessing. I've never been in that setting, but I've seen examples of it. So these are basically like preschool, specifically for pre-K kids who are getting ready to go into school. And of course, there is the, you know, babysitting and nannying. And childcare is more than just babysitting. So even though that you do have that one-on-one care within that child's house, you become connected with their family and build that relationship. You could use this as an opportunity to, try and do something a little bit different than just watching a child. Like you could go online, find different activities that you could do with the child that you're watching, or you could take something and turn it into a learning experience, with the child that you're looking after. I really think that, nannying, even though it's a really good start for someone who probably don't have that experience, I'm pretty sure a lot of people may have started out doing that. That's like the classic teenage job. I think that you could take that opportunity to be able to build and develop your skills with nannying or childcare. And like I said, you could take that position, get that experience, and try going into being an on par, or a governess, which is probably like a more a nannying position that has more responsibility and kind of continue that strong bond with the family. So I also want to say that a tip for this is that if you are not ready to get a full-time position, you could try being a temp. Like it's similar to that shadowing and volunteering position. You could try going with a temp agency like Tandem or Childcare Careers, or once again care.com. So that way you could get that feel of being in a childcare environment, or test out different types of environments before you find one that fits best for you. All right, so now we go into required certifications and trainings. So childcare, it's definitely something they'll need a few number of credentials. Some of them you could already have that might help, but these are a lot of the ones that you might really need to have. And if you don't have them, they'll definitely give you the training. So of course there's CPR and first aid. I got this after I got hired. So you'll be able to know the essentials for an emergency. You'll understand about the first aid kit. You know, understand CPR, know different injuries. It basically, they even would give you a chance to be able to test how you do, CPR, know the counts. It just is something that I think is used for any situation, but you definitely need to know what to do in the event that the emergency happens with a child. There's also the CDA, which is the Child Development Associate's credential. That's something that I recently earned myself. It is not required, but it is a great booster to your resume if you really, really are considering being serious about going into childcare. And I'm serious about it, so of course I had to go into it. And there's a number of different ones. They are good for about 3 years, and you're able to renew it. So you don't have to start at the very beginning. You can renew a CDA. And it helps with getting a higher paid jobs and helps with also moving up into different positions within childcare. And of course, you need to make sure that you keep up with state regulations and requirements as well. Um, basic in an example is that I live in Ohio, and they have a type of childcare which is called the B type homes, which are child cares that has smaller groups of children and like up to 6 kids. And for those, you have to be able to follow whatever specific courses or background checks that you will need. And background checks would be for any location, but since you're operating actual business from your home, you still have to have those same type of regulations and checks that you would have at a regular business building. And also, it really helps if you get more specialized trainings. Like I got more of these trainings after I got hired as well, like being able to understand sleep safety for young infants, like how you could place them in their cribs, as well as the mandated reporter training. Because just like in an elementary school or any high school environment, not high school, any school environment, childcare, daycare requires that teachers and providers be mandated reporters. So basically, just making sure that if you see anything that might be suspicious or concerning that could have be signs of a child being in danger in any way, you have to know that it's your responsibility to report that that child needs help. And you're completely anonymous too. So if you feel like there's a suspicion of a child being in danger, you have to go right away and and report that this child could possibly be in danger. And also, if you want to start out with these credentials and you think it might be overwhelming, be sure to at least do CPR first aid. It's easy to sign up for. You could probably find it in like a YMCA or community center. So you can get that out the way if you feel like you want to get that kickstart of your credentials before you go into childcare. I would say you can start with that one first, and you could, and whatever other trainings you could be up to you, but definitely going to have to get them if you go and work for a childcare center. Now let's move on to the resume. So a resume, like any job, it doesn't have to be fancy, but you have to really state anything that could be recommended that a child care center would be looking for. So basically, you can look back on past experiences. Any past experience of working with kids would help in this regard. Show that you're really passionate about being working with kids. Also, you could change how you speak. Sorry, I'm messing with my hair. You could change how you speak about working with kids. Instead of saying that you just watch kids, you could change to something like that you create engaging activities for school age or for preschool or for toddlers age children. Like just really just show that more professional, vocabulary on the resume. And of course, line up every credential that you have that would be relevant to this position. Like I mentioned, the CPR and first aid. If you have a CDA, definitely mention that you have a CDA. If you have any experience working with kids, like just emphasize a lot in your resume that you work with kids, you have worked with kids, and you're interested in this position, which is going to be all about working with kids. And also with references, like I said, from any past experiences, referrals from people you may know, like anything that's pertained to you, like looking after children or doing something or volunteering with children, make sure that they can vouch for your skills, not just with like working with kids, but also showing that you're a professional, that you show up on time, that you're willing to cooperate with others, that you have good problem solving skills. Because even in childcare, you're going to need to use a lot of problem solving skills whenever there's some kind of conflict or wherever there's some kind of options that you need to weigh in this particular environment. Like I'm emphasizing, really emphasizing that this is more than just watching kids and playing with kids all day. Also, we're going to go into the final part, which is going to be tips on how to have a really good childcare interview. So, most interviews, like I mentioned earlier, that they focus a lot more on the heart that you have than they do with than how much you might know off the top of your head about working with kids. Like even if you, like myself, I don't have as much experience working with children, but I really emphasize how much I wanted to work with kids. And I think that that really like help that along with my resume. So show a lot of passion, show that why you really love working with kids, why you would love to work with kids. You just really emphasize that you are really ready and very enthusiastic about it. And you could reach back with examples on how to like reach back for examples in your past work experience about how to deal with certain situations. Like it doesn't have to exactly line up with whatever situation they might be asking of you. They could, like, you could take something from like working in retail and say how you use that to solve a problem. And they could see more about how you use or communication and problem solving skills than about you working in a situation where a child is involved. Also, don't be afraid to ask any questions as well to them, because you're going to be working for them, so you want to get more of a feel about what the school is going to be like. Because just like how every different type of childcare setting is different, the school itself can be different from another school. Like one childcare center could be a different company in philosophy from another childcare center. One place could have times that they show screen time. Another place could emphasize more about play-based learning and not focus on screen time. One area could be really focused on, establishing like the early concepts of like reading and schoolwork. And another one, like I mentioned, could be really focused on play and developing social skills. So every school is going to be different in some shape or form. So don't be afraid to ask those questions about how it's like at these schools, what they're going to be expected of you if you get hired. Just, don't be afraid to ask any questions that you might have towards the interviewee. And also, overall, just be yourself. Like, you don't have to pretend to be Mary Poppins. You don't have to pretend to be Maria from The Sound of Music. Just emphasize that you're someone you are not only passionate about working with kids, but you be transparent. Say you've never really worked with kids, but I do want to work with kids. I think that I would be a good fit to work with children because I'm someone who is very young at heart. I see like a lot of things that kids are interested in that I think they would be interested in as well. Maybe throw in like a quote from a cartoon, really connect with the interviewee. So, be professional, but always remember to be authentic and be yourself. Really care more about how passionate you are about this business and about this career than they do about how much you have in your wheel set or reel set, whatever the word is. They focus more on how much you want to dedicate towards to this than they would have about how much experience that you have. And I just go end it right there. And I just want to say that it's more than just a job. Once again, childcare is more than just a job or just a career. It's really an opportunity to really change a child's life or a bunch of children's lives. And so just remember that in mind when you go into it. Like, you'd be surprised just how little can something change kids' life for the better. So I'm just going to end it right there. I hope this video kind of helped you. And if you are interested in any more videos that I might have, follow me on social media. I'm going to put the link tree, my link tree to my blog in this video's description, and to share some more tips, not just about getting that childcare job, just anything pertaining to childcare or for kids. If this is for future childcare professionals, or it could be for future or new parents, any people who kind of have that concern about what they're going to do when they have a kid in front of them, whether they're watching a kid for about an hour for their aunt, or they're about to have a baby next week, or they just adopted a child. Just any young person who's interested in kids but still kind of have that worry about how am I going to do this. Like, I get that sometimes, and I want to be able to let you guys know that it's normal and that it's exciting, the step that you're going to take. Also, the little resource that I was going to share with you guys. So I just want to let you know about Damsel in Defense. They have a collection that is called the Safe Hearts Collection. And basically it offers books and other little fun tools to help give your child, even, young children, those serious talks, or as they call it within Damsel in Defense, kid conversations, to about like serious situations that they might encounter in real life, and not to put fear in them, but to kind of help them to have, to help them on what to do and to empower them to keep themselves safe whenever they're in these situations. So these books, they are really, very impactful. They do talk about serious situations. So be sure to, when you buy this book, you buy these books, you also have a parenting guide. I might do another video explaining about Damsel another time, but please check out Damsel. The link to the Safe Hearts collection is also going to be located within the description of this video, along with my link tree. All right, guys, I know this is a little bit long, but hopefully you guys will enjoy the video, and be sure to follow me on social media. And remember, until next time, stay blessed and blurtiful, and to fear less and care more. Bye.